How about this voice inside of your head that keeps telling you, you are going to fail, you are not good enough, don't even try, you're so pathetic. We all have this internal voice that is keeping us small and insignificant. Let's talk about this voice today. My name is Ania Haas. I am a transformation coach, and I help people like you to release some emotions, old programs that are keeping you small, that are keeping you insignificant, unblocking those energy channels that are preventing you from stepping into your own power. Let's talk about this inner critic today and what it is and how to deal with it so we can be more successful. Many people believe that this inner critic is some kind of an evil entity inside of our head, making us feel small and insignificant. But in truth, the inner critic is the protection mechanism that is trying all the best, all the way to keep you safe. For example, this voice that will tell you, you are not good enough, don't try. Don't try because you are going to fail. Don't go there because you don't you don't belong there. Don't go. And it prevents you from achieving your goals. It's preventing you from getting out from your comfort zone and do something that you've never done before. Inner critic comes from your mind and is afraid of you being vulnerable, because it is used to for you to react to every bit of that inner critic. So that if the inner critic says you are not good enough, what is your reaction? Normally your reaction is to go back, to feel small, to feel limited. And when you become more vulnerable, you create space and opportunity to meet your inner critic and find out more about what it does for you. What if you will change your way of looking at the inner critic and starting from today, instead of reacting, instead of fighting, instead of ignoring even your inner critic, try to find out with your open heart and curiosity what it does for you. So today, what are 3 ways for you to shift that relationship that you're holding with your inner critic? Number 1, find out what it does for you. Imagine that you could sit, like you would sit with your friend on a bench in the park, and when you sit next to your inner critic, become vulnerable and ask questions. What do you do for me? How are you protecting me from failing? When was the first time I experienced you? You might find out more about yourself through that and how the inner critic helped you in the past. For example, my inner critic very often was related to not feeling good enough. And so if I will sit with the inner critic and spoke with this new friend of mine, I would say, like in the past, I felt so many times that you spoke to me that I'm not good enough. Can you tell me more about this? What are you protecting me from? And my inner critic told me in my past that it's protecting me from failure, it's protecting me from being embarrassed, from showing up, from people misunderstanding me. And so every single time I would hear this inner critic, I would go back to my shell to make myself feel little and just in my comfort zone. Why don't you try to sit with your inner critic and ask the same questions? The truth is that when you speak to that voice that smaller part within yourself, you may even say, I understand. In the past, I was feeling not good enough, but I've been working on myself. I grew enormously in my mind, and now I would like also to be able to try new things. Without me trying new things, I will never know if I truly grew in my mind. Number 2 is to give this inner critic a name. When your inner critic has a name, it's much easier to communicate and speak with somebody that is already has a persona inside of yourself. So it's not like just some kind of entity inside part of you, but somebody that you already personalized for yourself. My inner critic is felt always like an echo that was always there. And so I called my inner critic Echo Genie. And so every single time I would hear this echo coming back, I would recognize it to say, it's the Echo Genie speaking to me again. And so instead of rejecting, pushing away, or resisting, or fighting, or doing anything with this, I just started to be learning how to recognize this voice and how to say, oh yeah, I know it's you, but let's try. Allow me to prove to you and to myself that I can do what I said that I will. And then when you do that, you are collecting an evidence that you are capable to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And so with each single time that you're collecting that evidence, your own inner critic is going to become less and less screaming to you and becoming more quieter on the inside. Number 3 is to replace your judgment with self-compassion. You see, we all have parts inside of us that we can recognize. And some of those parts, they require your attention, your love, your acceptance, your recognition. And so knowing that we are the whole, but we are made out of different parts, and working on creating space for each individual parts that needs your love and attention and support will help you to understand that you are whole all along. Like right here, right now, you are already whole. You're made out of parts that may feel that they are dividing you, that they are separating you. But the more you are embracing each part within yourself with your kindness, with your open heart, the more friendly you're becoming with yourself by becoming friends with each part that needs your attention. So to recap our session for today, number 1, your inner critic is the part within you that is scared for your good. You can connect with that part inside and become friends with your inner critic. Number 2, instead of ignoring, fighting this voice, become friends with that. And number 3, become very compassionate about all parts within yourself. The more you're becoming friends with all of them, the more loving and accepting you feel for yourself. So the question for today, please give me comments down below. What your inner critic is criticizing you about the most? What is the emotions that your inner critic triggers inside of you the most? Because that's exactly the emotion that you have to focus on releasing and shifting into the positive outcome. And as always, if you want to go deeper, I'm suggesting you my book, The Essential Thread, that is my coaching. There are 9 chapters in this wonderful book that will take you on a journey for self-discovery. And if you didn't have chance yet to subscribe, please do it now and turn on the notifications so you receive emails from me each time I post the program. Let's see each other tomorrow, and tomorrow we are going to be working through some cognitive distortions. They are very important also to recognize how they are limiting your own belief about yourself. All right, see you tomorrow.